Hello and welcome to Galata Plus. A little after Chaitanya Tamhane's The Disciple, Marathi cinema gives us another deep dive saga into classical music. This time it is Nipun Dharmadhikari's Me Vasantrao. This is about the life and times of the legendary singer Rahul Deshpande, who is played on screen by the man's actual grandson, Rahul Deshpande, who is also a classical musician. Rahul Deshpande has also composed the music along with Bhushan Mate. More about the music later, but let's look at the film first. Now, most biopics made in India are about a person and they are very literal. They try to incorporate every little thing that happened in that person's life. But what Nipun Dharmadhikari does is something very different and very beautiful. He captures not just the person but the essence of that person, which is the music. The overall story is that of a man, a musician, whose music was suppressed by two things. The first was his responsibilities to his family, and the second is the establishment, who considered his music as extraordinarily unconventional because he refused to confine it to one gharana. They have very strict definitions about what Shastriya Sangeet or classical music is, and they refuse to accept him as a serious musician. They laugh at him and they mock him. Even though we see the story beats play out, at least we see some of the story beats play out, what's in the forefront is always the music. Even Vasantrao's birth has to do with music, and there is a lot of borderline surrealism and poetry in this movie, and this is a great example of it. Now, what happens is Vasantrao's mother is singing beautifully, but she's also heavily pregnant and she gets into labor, and Vasantrao says that the music made him eager to get out so that he could then applaud her performance. The two standout performances in this film come from Anita Date, who plays the mother, and from Pushparaj Chirputkar, who plays Pula Deshpande. He adds some much-needed humor into the movie, and he's simply brilliant as the best friend that a man could ever have. So at one point, Pula Deshpande asks Vasantrao if he doesn't miss singing, because he knows that this man is a great singer, but he has taken up the job of an accountant in order to support his family. What Vasantrao said gave me goose flesh. He says, "But what makes you think I'm not singing? I'm always singing. It's just that you hear me or others hear me only when I sing loudly." What a beautiful way to show how a man can be responsible towards his family and do the things that are needed and yet be always consumed by his art. Like I said, we get the story beats of the life of Vasantrao like any other biopic, but these are very interesting beats and they are also laid out very interestingly. They are not stretched out beyond a point. For example, we get the fact that Vasantrao's mother was an atheist. We get the fact that the gharana system is almost like the caste system, because notes are born free. Why confine them to a gharana? And like the scene that showed the birth of Vasantrao, or at least the way he narrated it, there is another lovely borderline surreal scene where he finds his guru with his eyes closed, because all he needs are his ears in order to find the best music available, which will come from the best guru available. And once he finds his guru in Lahore, and this guru is played by Kumud Mishra, he spends 6 months learning just one rag Marwa. Now the film is so beautifully paced that we really feel the 6 months that he learns this rag. Me Vasantrao is an epic film, but in a way it also feels confined and focused, very focused, because the focus is always on the music. At one point during the Indo-China War, he's posted on the border, but even there he keeps thinking about the music. Something about the surroundings makes him think about how different music is when there are people around him and when there are no people around him. Now, this is a very imaginatively shot film, both in the smaller scenes and in the larger scenes, and some of the vistas are epic. Some of the scenes, like the range of mountains that he sees in China, in the China border, and yet the frames feel small and tight because the focus of the music is small and tight, which is all about the music and the music. Now, this is a very single-minded biopic, which is about the essence of the man, which I said is all about the music. So you may wonder, if he's taking care of his family and if he has a full-time job, then where is his music coming from? That's because in between the ordinary events of his life, he gets the chance to absorb extraordinary types of different styles of music. For example, from Dinanath Mangeshkar, he gets a very theatrical and dramatic form of music. Then in Lucknow, from Begum Akhtar, he gets a very Lucknowi kind of music. Vasantrao has always been a very good singer, but at first he is more of a mimic than a singer. He sings exactly what what the guru teaches him, but then later he learns to fuse his own identity and imagination into the music. The music is utterly gorgeous and the songs are often shot in halves. The first half is sung by the exponent of that particular music, and the second half is how Vasantrao interprets the very same song in his own style. The most amazing scene in the movie is when Vasantrao encounters a woman who is called Akka. She is a legendary Lavani singer. Now this form of music is considered by some people as a lowly form of music, a low class form of music, but to Vasantrao there is no difference between the Lavani and Shastriya Sangeet or classical music. It is all the same, it is all music. And something beautiful happens when this Lavani singer starts to sing in her dingy, dark house. Suddenly there is an illumination as if her singing has lit up the surroundings. Only a few scenes seem off and heavy-handed. For example, the scenes where the members of the Shastriya Sangeet establishment mock Vasantrao and his style, or the late scenes where he meets his father. Otherwise, the film has a beautiful sense of continuity, and I love how Rahul Deshpande maintains a sense of equilibrium throughout the film. This is not a man who is in deep angst about not being able to achieve his ambition, or even if it is, that's all inside his head. Otherwise, outside, he's just somebody who's doing what his mother asked him to do, which is to take care of the family, and he accepts that as his responsibility and his job and doesn't complain about it at all. It was his mother who told him that art does not pay bills, and later again it is his mother who tells him, okay, enough of being an accountant, now go back to singing because I know that's what makes you really happy. The relationship between Vasantrao and his mother registers very strongly because she brought him up single-handedly and he takes her every word to be the word, the gospel of God. And with her permission and blessing, he becomes a late bloomer, becoming popular only in his 40s, especially after the stage production of Katiyar Kaljat Khusli, which was made into a film a few years ago. Like a few other scenes, the framing device of the film is also surreal. Now, what happens is a man walks into Vasantrao's green room just as he's going to give a performance. It is the early 1980s, and later we find out who this man really is. But when he first walks in, we think it's one of those typical framing devices where this man is going to ask him an interview question and then that is going to lead us into a flashback, but that is not what happens at all. Because again, this man has to do with Vasantrao's music. I know I've used the word music about 5,000 times in this review, but that's because that's what this movie is about, and that's what a biopic should do. It's not about showing each and everything in the life of a person. It is about showing the essence of that life, and in this case, in Vasantrao's case, the essence is music. So that's it about me, Vasantrao. If you like this video, do subscribe to Galata Plus and see you soon at the movies.